Hello, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Uh, just wanted to stop by and do a quick live video. Guess what I found out today while out shopping for shoes? I stopped by Walmart, and Walmart now has the. Can you see that price? Can you see the price? Walmart now has this, and I think these are called straight eight. 20 cents, folks. You get these, you put them in your collection for later on when you need them. Because most of you already have your plants put in the ground by now. Hopefully, started them indoors and got them ready to roll. And I stocked up on these here because I told you I love these. These are sweet corn, but it's called peaches and cream. God, these are good. Ah, these are really good. Um, Garden City, you gave me a shout out as I was watching one of your videos. I was just watching it, and you actually called my name, and I do absolutely appreciate that. Not many do that, and I can be honest with you about that. I've never. I mean, it's been. I don't know. But I just want to thank you. I get on here every night, and I try to come up with a good topic and give a good show and give as much information as I possibly can. Um, and that's pretty tough after you've done a 16-hour day and you want to. But I want to see people grow food. I want to see people be able to feed their families, and I want to stop this grip that these box stores have on us for buying our vegetables and fruits. And this helps when you pass the information on. I remember I've been doing this for 19 years. I've made all the mistakes, and I have learned from those mistakes, and I've continued on. Excuse me. So what I want to say is that definitely to Garden City, thank you very much. I remember getting the calls on the phone today, and people saying, this person on this video called your name. They called your name, and I said, "Whoa!" I said, "Yes." I said, "I heard it." I said, "I appreciate that." Somebody was actually saying, "Look, I appreciate what you do." So, to Garden City, I saw your garden. It looks great. Actually, there was one person that thought it was my garden, and I said, "No, it's not my garden, but it's one of the people that watch my live show, and I watch her videos, and it's just that she's into gardening, and I really appreciate her taking the time out and calling out my name in the video. I appreciate that. Um, I've mentioned this corn because I love it. It was sent to me by uh, uh, a show that's called the oh God, what is it? Don't tell me I forgot his name. I apologize. But this is a gentleman that he's Garden Rebel, and he sent me some seeds. Go check his channel out. Go check out Garden City channel, because Garden City has a lot of good information. I pay attention to when I talk to people on the live stream, and also good evening, thank you, Miss Thomas. I think it's Miss Debbie Thomas. Um, and what happens is she gave out a lot of good information. If you just listen to the content of what she's delivering, Garden City, thank you again, and also to Garden Rebel, which I haven't seen anything from your channel in quite a while. I hope everything's okay. But this here, Peaches and cream. He sent me these. I didn't know anything about a peaches and cream until he sent them to me, and was out there looking at the corn to see how it was doing, and found out that this corn, it was absolutely great. I bit into some of it, and I stood there and ate, and I never did that before. I stood there and ate 2 cobs of corn completely raw, not cooked or anything. They were that good. But again, Walmart, 20-cent seeds. They weren't there 2 weeks ago. They weren't there a week ago. And they got them there. 20-cent seeds. They have the 50-cent seeds. Just want to get the word out. Keep your costs down. Make certain that you definitely getting those seeds together early, because you're going to need that. Say, I don't know what that means. I guess it's a channel. Is it a channel? envious.com. Okay. This is beautiful here. This is absolutely beautiful. And I still feel like I should have got more seeds. You take these, you stock them up for next year. You get all this corn, you get all these peppers, and you hold on to them for next year, because next year they may have the 20-cent seeds still there. 50-cent seeds may not be there. You want to make sure that you get your seeds. And I just bought 1 pack of straight 8 cucumbers. Excuse me, 2 packs. And I still feel like I should have got more packs of seeds. Good evening, my brother. All right. The bull, there you go, right there, the bull. I was telling somebody today that you gave me a shout out on one of your videos. I don't know what video it is, but I was telling them that you gave me a shout out, and I appreciate that. I was just telling them that it was a gardener that gave me a shout out on it's called Garden City, and gave me a shout out, and I really appreciate that. And I just, whenever they videos come to me, I open it up, I look through it, and I see, oh, okay. And they mention my name just as clear and just as, and told what I've been trying to do. And it's good to try to get the word out when you see somebody out there trying to do what's right. Now, you mentioned something, and I appreciate it. You said I'm out there working hard on the compost pile, something to that effect. I just wanted to clarify something here. I don't do compost piles. I did them in the past, but those were a bunch of about 90 pounds. My neighbor was removing some cuttings from his trees. And when I looked across the street and I saw them, he's about 72 years old. And I said, let me help him get rid of that wood. And I said, listen, what are you going to do with the cuttings? He said, I'm going to throw them away. When I hear that, it doesn't set right with me. When you say, I'm going to throw away this much biomass because it's trash. And that's what you throw away is trash. But when he said that, I know the tree that he put there. I remember when he put it there, the tree is very healthy. And it had no seeds in it. So what I did is I collected the tree cuttings. I put them on the bottom, and I put the compost on top. And the reason why I did that is the trees will become black soil in a matter of no time. So that's why I did that. I'm trying to get rid of the wood. But compost piles, I do all my composting right there where I work. There's a video I put up yesterday. I think yesterday, yes. And it shows me pointing the camera at the ground, showing all this brown weeds and things that fell during the winter. That's basically how I fertilize. I use a lot of any and everything that's already on my property. I stopped with the wood chips and all that because I brought in wood chips a few years back. It was a good deal, and then it was a bad deal because there were weeds that came in with that stuff. There was vines that came in, and I'm talking vines that are extremely aggressive. And I'm dealing with that now. So um, the vines turned out to be a blessing as well because that's a lot of biomass. I go through there with that weed trimmer, cut all those vines down, and when they start rotting down, they create organic matter. So grasses, weeds, everything is to me is what I call biomass, what I call food for my soil. I picked up two night crawlers, broad daylight. I didn't know him. I didn't get one of them. You know how they do this number. And I jive you not. This was one of the longest earthworms, which was a night crawler I've ever seen in my life. I pulled him out of the hole. I couldn't get the other one because that's how strong he was, and I had to let him go because he would have broken his body in two. So I didn't want that to happen. So that being said, I've been busy in the garden. So that's why I with the bull. That's why I was messing with that compost that day. That compost was laying there for I want to say 2 or 3 years. It's been laying there. I haven't been using it. I just left it there. Um, and so when I went through the compost pile, it's full of weeds and everything. So I just flipped the weeds over, had the root side facing up. In other words, they're just going to basically, a lot of it's going to die. But once it starts to add that biology to those tree limbs, it will start breaking them down. And I'll leave them there. I'll just leave them there. That's an investment in the future for my plant food survival for my crops. Okay, let's see what we got there. That was a long explanation, but I just wanted to say that because I see the bull working out there in the yard, and he's getting all his gardens together. But he's a neat gardener. That's, a lot of gardeners are neat. I'm not neat at all. I keep the weeds under control. I keep enough weeds on the property so they can control no, excuse me, so the insects have something to eat and they don't eat my plants. That's why I keep the some of the weeds there. Praying mantis this year in my yard. I had a number of videos I talked about them. They are absolutely gone crazy. As I walk through the yard and I look in mobile locations, I see these praying mantis nests. And in a praying mantis nest, I think there's like hundreds that come out of one nest. So when I see as many nests as I see, and I've never seen that on my property before, but they're there because last year I allowed the grass to grow. And when the grass grew, I knew I had crickets and I had grasshoppers in that grass in somewhat large numbers. And so, these predators are going to follow their food supply. Instinctively, they're going to follow their food supply. Let's see. Thomas, okay. Just reading through some of the things some of you said. Hello. Okay, hello. Okay, all right. Miss Thomas loves to eat what they grow, salads. Let's see where. Okay, vegetables on a hillside. Um, if I were doing it, I've never planted on a hillside, but I noticed the basic things that plants do need, that's sun, and also they need nutrients. They need to eat, and oxygen. They need oxygen to their roots. So it's basically the same. I mean, it's just it's on a hill. I mean, you can plant them there. I mean, that's why you see some people plant in what they call towers Um, they plant the plants come out of the size of buckets where they do the strawberries and that sort of thing. And it's basically the same exact principle. Usually use a pitchfork. I would loosen up the soil, create an area where I can amend if it's clay soil, if it's sandy soil, loamy soil. Yeah, you could definitely create a situation where you could grow whatever you want on the hillside. Just make sure that it's facing the sun. And they got some apps out there on the phones that you could download sun location and let that help you out as well. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Okay, anyone Ghana. Let's say hi, Debbie. Let's say okay, that's cool. That's all. Say, pray, that's cool. What? Oh, yeah. Let's see what we got here. The bull. Okay. Yeah, the praying mantis are definitely a blessing. A blessing. That's what they are. Some people go online and they order them things from Amazon. They come there, the egg sacs, and people raise them and they collect these egg sacs and you order them and they got all the information on there and you bring them there and you put them in your yard and you hope they stay. Well, that's not a really good deal because if you don't have praying mantis, that means you don't have an environment for them. So you can bring those there, and they're going to live out what time they have, and try to. They're going to try to live there. But if they don't have the environment they need, you will not see those praying mantises there very long. Same thing with ladybugs. They're great little basically insect that takes care of the problems with you know bugs that eat your plants. But if you do not have the environment for the ladybugs, they will leave as well. They will die off, or they will move on, or go to your neighbor's yard across the alley or whatever, because that's where the food supply is, and that's how that works. Okay, let's see. We got here. Hey, there is. Sorry. Let's see. What's up, Debbie? Okay, all right. I like this here. Everybody's talking to each other. I love that. Love that information, information, information. I say, hey, Yep. So that's what I do. I make certain that. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you. Let's see. I have lots of ladybugs, but low in mantises. Okay. I think that's what you got there, mantises. Well, I mean, if a praying mantis is an insect that is a predator. If you had praying mantises and ladybugs in the same, the praying mantis would eat them. It would be that simple. They would just eat those bugs. Um, but at least you got the ladybugs because they do basically a very good job at eating aphises and all number of different types of soft-bodied insects. So praying mantises is what I got, and they're there. Um, and I'm gonna do what I can to keep them there because they weren't there 2 years ago in those numbers. I should see one nest like once every blue moon. But last year when we got all that rain and I had all that biomass growing, those praying mantises I would see in the yard. I would look at them. They're big. They're from I think they're from China or Japan. Don't hold me to that. They're the big green ones. The big green ones. Because you have hundreds of different varieties of praying mantises, but they're the big green ones. So you know, let's see. I got the Supreme Family Garden. Hey, where are we now? We were just talking about predatory insects being on your property. Also, a soil amendment because that's very important. I see and, too many people trying to plant their vegetables and their fruit in hard clay soil or heavy soil. It's clay, but it's just on the heavy side. Um, the plant roots cannot get air. You can't get air. They can't push their roots out through your soil. And a lot of the plants that you buy, that they have them on steroids when they grow them at, those plants do not do well when you take them home and you try to give them clay soil, uh, clay soil, and also feeding them the fertilizer you're feeding them. They'll slow down and they'll do pretty bad. A lot of them are plants that are grown in the best of conditions. They're bred for that. Those plants are bred for that, to grow in the best conditions. If you can't provide those conditions, that plant will not do very well. You must give it the same condition it was bred to. Now, if you want to change that, like if you had a heirloom and you want to change that, then what you would do is the way that you grow it, you're going to lose some, but after a period of about 2 or 3 years, it will adapt, excuse me, to the soil and also to the way that you might not water them the way that they were designed to be watered once a week or whatever. You may feed them every 2 weeks instead of once a week, like they were designed to be fed. I'm using it as an example. The plants that survive and that you take the seeds from will adapt to that kind of care, to that kind of environment. Let's see, where are we at now? Let's see. Now, I think I'm understanding this correctly. Supreme Family Garden. Let's see. Hey, morning gardener. Let's see what we got here. I can't find my glasses, by the way. Don't tell the old lady I lost them. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's see. How do you keep bugs on your Santa Rosa? Oh, buds. Excuse me. Santa Rosa plum tree. How do you keep them on? Santa Rosa plum. I wasn't trying to keep them on there. I mean, I just did what I did with the fertilizer at the root. I don't know if you saw the videos I've had where I'm feeding the plants with funnels. I'm using a funnel to put, but it's done in the early um, part of the year before they budded out or anything. I was feeding my plants. Most people were in the house and they would say, "Okay, it's cold outside. I'm not gonna go out there and do anything." I was out there adding because I knew that the budding out was about 3, maybe 4 weeks away. And so what I did is I put the fertilizer at the root um, around the cannabis of the tree. And once I did that, the trees responded and they started producing all these buds. I mean, lots of buds. Yeah. And then come the blooms, and once the blooms came, but once you get them a certain age, they start producing their own spurs, and then next thing you know, you got exactly what you want. The tree's got to be at least 2.5, 2 years old to 3 years old. A lot of these are dwarf trees. Some of the standard trees take longer. That's why I don't mess with standard trees. They take longer. They take much longer. Semi dwarf trees, I think they're still around 2.5, 3 years, 4 years, and then you see them start producing fruit. But to uh, nudge the tree, so to speak, in the right direction, I found that if you give this is what I do. I'm gonna put it this way: if you give the trees flowering organic fertilizer that promotes flowers early part of the season before the buds open, it will give the nutrients needed for the trees to produce flowers. If the trees of age to produce flowers. What other 40? I don't know what that is. Let's see. Uh, let's see. Trees are over 40. Let me see what I got here. Family TV. Love you. Oh, I think somebody said they love the work I do. Well, okay. Well, I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm so scared of watering and feeding in winter. Damn you, winter. Yeah, a lot of people are afraid of it. Look, what happens is people put a lot of information out about gardening and about plants and trees and fruit trees and all that, and they have no clue what they're talking about. They go on by stuff they read and they swear by it and they don't have the facts. And when these people give this false information out, they read it somewhere else. Plants don't need you, basically. They don't need you to survive. They've been surviving for millions of years before we got here on this planet. They don't need you. Man has stepped in and altered these plants and made them weak, basically. But he altered them to fit what he needed. Corn was never like this 4,000 years ago. Corn wasn't like that. A lot of other plants, broccoli wasn't like it is. Tomatoes weren't like they are. So these plants have been altered and they grow, as I said earlier, in the finest conditions. And if you don't supply those conditions, the plant simply dies or it doesn't produce as it was designed to produce. So the only thing you can do is create a soil uh, location that is suitable for that plant. That's the key. They don't tell you the truth. A lot of these masters of gardening, they don't tell you the truth. They don't tell you the truth. You look at their yard, it's big and bountiful, and then they don't tell you the truth. And then they won't tell you what they're doing. They won't really tell you that the key to all of what they're doing, and it's no mystery. It's no uh it's just soil. All they're doing is creating a soil that the plant loves, putting the ingredients in the soil that the plant needs, not wants, but needs. And that's how that works. There was a gentleman came up to me today while I was leaving work. This man is about, well, he's older than I am. I would say he's in his 70s. So what he did was he said, well, I'm getting ready to till up my yard and start my tomatoes. I said, don't till. I said, if you are going to add a bunch of organic matter to the soil, yeah, till it that one time. Till it, get all that stuff deep down in the soil, and then don't till anymore if you want to start it fast. But the the thing about it is that I said, don't till. Don't till anything. He said, well, the farmers till. And he looked at me as though he had me in a loophole or that I didn't understand what I was talking about. I looked in his eyes and I simply said to myself, he's a good guy. He just don't understand. And I said to him, I said, get you a pitchfork and just stick it in the ground 8 inches and rock it back. Go back 4 inches, stick it in the ground, rock it back. I said, all you want to do is loosen the soil and get some oxygen into that soil. So all you want to do. You don't want to turn or till anything and bring up weed seeds that's been down there, some of them over 30 years, and then you're gonna create a situation. Why would you want to do that? I said just simply loosen the soil up. I said add organic matter to the soil, and I said and also it wouldn't hurt you if early part of the year you would have got a soil test and would have told you what is needed. But then again, in the soil, that keeps changing. That keeps changing because a lot of what we do gets changed when it rains or snows or whatever, and it changes the soil's balance. pH is subject to change at any time. A number of the nutrients that are in the soil changes. So you got to definitely just get an understanding of what nature does. It's simple to just do it the way nature does it. You need to on the soil. Now let's see the bull. Let's see the bull here. Okay, the bull wrote a very good statement and a very true statement. You need to work on your soil. Not all the time, but you need to work on your soil. Once you get the organic matter in the soil, you get the organic matter in the soil and you keep it loose, keep the soil loose, keep the weeds back from your plants. And even if you have to go out there on a daily basis sometimes to get those weeds back, I mean, you bent over and you're pulling weeds. You're pulling weeds. And then when you get those weeds, you don't need to have, you can do two things. What I do is I pull them and lay them on the soil, pull them and lay them on the soil, pour them, I'll lay them around my plants, around the base of my plants so that they create like a mulch. So I use the weeds to get rid of the weeds. So that's all I'm saying, folks. Is it's not they want you to think that gardening is difficult, but it's not. It's not difficult at all. Your plants that you put in the ground are basically weedlings. The weeds are the dominant members in that area because they were born there. So they adapted, completely adapted to that type of soil. So they're not worried uh, about dying because they can't get water or someone hadn't fertilized them this week. No, they know how to get their food. You guys know, that guy. That's it. Well, thank you very much, Supreme Family Garden. Thank you. He says no organic matter in the soil, just on top. Putting organic matter on top of the soil is actually the natural way that nature does it because everything that's on top of the soil goes down. It's just the law of gravity. So it takes longer, but it goes down into the soil. So I mean that's just the way that works. When you pull up roots and you pull them out and you lay them on top of the soil, make sure their roots are kind of facing up or not into the soil, so they will die. Um, when you do that, all those weeds. Let's just put it this way: those weeds in about 6 months will be completely gone, like they were never there. Where did they go? They went into the soil. That's what happened. I used to drive, and I still do, even to the day. Drive by graveyards, and I look at the trees that grow there, and they're beautiful. They're completely dark, dark green to almost a blue. Well, folks, there's a lot of fertilizer in the graveyard. When those boxes rot open, those roots go right in those boxes and they eat all they want. And the worms that live in those areas that live and die, live and die, live and die, they make that soil so freaking fertile that you could grow anything in that soil. Okay, and on that note, folks, got to go downstairs and my other greenhouse and get some plants started. I do appreciate every single one of you for stopping in. Every single one of you for stopping in. Thank you very much. Uh, Better World TV. Better World TV. I'm gonna look into that. I haven't heard of your site before, or your channel, but I'm gonna look into it. Let's see. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. And you've been great. You've been asking questions, which I appreciate that. Get the glasses. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going to get my glasses. God damn it. I'm going to definitely uh, uh, get into, getting some seeds put in. Because I got everything right now growing at one time, and I'm really struggling for space. Um, and I got to make a soil mix up tomorrow. I might do maybe 300 pounds of soil mix. Um, and what I call my soil mix. And I got my own soil mix. Everybody got their soil mixes that they use. But at any rate, thank you very much for tuning in. You've been great. And remember, keep on growing. Take care.